Ey, mein Fingerwagenweg, der hat sich irgendwie verklemmt.
Krass, da ist noch niemand weitergekommen.
Guck mal, für das Video so als wäre ich noch drin.
Hi, welcome to the tiny Bauhaus.
The tiny Bauhaus.
We call it Wohnmaschine, which is German and means the housing machine or living machine. It's a term which was created by Le Corbusier. Well, this is inspired by Bauhaus, right? They just had curtains, white curtains, and they really needed them because the glass facade was so thin. The wind was always, you know, coming through the glass wall. So. You know, we trick around a lot. You see that mirror there? This mirror is so important to widen the impression of the room inside, because from this wall to that wall, it's just 2 meters. I mean, this is really narrow, just 2 meters. And with the window, you know, and this mirror, it doubles everything. The Bauhaus, what did they do? I mean, actually, they were designers, you know, they wanted to design or bring the form or create the form for a new content. And what I really like is that window to the bathroom. The new content is everyone should have the right to be educated, everyone should have the right to have a balcony, have a kitchen, have a bathroom. All these things weren't before Bauhaus, you know. And here's the toilet, which is currently just an ordinary camping toilet. We plan to put a compost toilet here. Here's the shower area. This is just 2 meters, right? It's not very high, but it totally fits for me. So there's a curtain missing here. You know, Le Corbusier was an inspiring person for the Bauhaus people who founded Bauhaus. He was talking about a kind of new housing system for a new era. He said that apartments should be like machines, like engines. You need to produce them in a serial way to make it cheap and affordable for everyone. He said that you cannot just let people do whatever they want to do in their apartments. You have to define where the kitchen is, you have to define how they sleep, and you have to shape them, you know, to make the perfect person for this new society. So apartments became machines. And today we know that this is not the answer, you know. But you know, we take this term from back then, 100 years ago, and try to shift it in a new way. So this is a kind of prototype to test the smallest 2-room apartment. So here's one room where kids can sleep here. I mean, even I could sleep here. Kids can totally sleep here, it's totally fine. Here you have a little table where you can dine. 2 people. This apartment is made for 2 people, right? You can use it as a kid space or as a dining room. So here's a lot of storage space. Wow. So this is the bathroom, and what I really like is there's no wall, there's a window, so I can interact with my kids if they are there. My kids, they played here, they use this window as a theater play. In this tiny house, every room is a room of possibilities. We have a boiler here that heats up the water for the shower. It's the smallest boiler you can get. It's just 30 liters. You can just shower like 8 minutes warm and then it gets really cold. And we cook with this gas stove, you know, that's a really easy thing. Just with these camping cans, just simple propane gas, and then you can cook pasta, whatever. Really simple. If you don't use it, you just put it away. Or you can also cook there or there, because all rooms are rooms of possibilities. You know, this room here, people say that it's the living room, but I use it as a working space, actually, as a, like a studio. So I have my table here, which is also portable, you know, and it's standing on these 2 legs. And in the nighttime, we fold this bed sofa out. Boom. So, a queen size bed. It feels good to relax here. I mean, I can hear a little bit the noise of the exterior, but it feels cozy, yeah.
So the room becomes all bed.
Yeah, it's really big. I slept here with my wife and 2 kids. We have our techniques how to use the tiny space to sleep 4 people here. It makes a very strong connection, between us and our kids. I like it. Actually, we have another foldable mattress here. This is my cellar, actually, for special guests. This is just for guests.
So that's another bed.
It's another bed,
you
yeah.
have 4th bed in a sense, right?
4 people can. Well, actually, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 to 6 people can stay here overnight. That's my cellar.
Heating it, is it stay warm? I mean, all the glass. It doesn't seem like it's probably made to be super airtight.
No, it's just 2 millimeters. It's really thin because of the weight. We are just allowed to put 3.5 tons on this trailer. So this was a big challenge to make the whole facade in a way that it's light. So this is just a really thin wall. But this helps, to put the curtain here. I mean, I spent here some nights, minus 10 degrees was outside, and was totally fine. Yeah, it was totally fine. Because it's a small room, we don't have high ceilings here, so it gets warm very easy and very fast. The Bauhaus, they wanted to get rid of materials. That's why they were so crazy about glass facades. So this new idea of facades was realized in Dessau, which was one of a kind at that time when Gropius designed it. He wanted to make the facade in a way that it floats in a way. It's not part of the house, it's more like floating in front of the house. It has no static functions anymore. It's just hung in front of the house. And we took the facade, shrunk it, and make it small. And put the whole facade on one of our tiny houses on wheels. And travel around Germany.
Einschlagen! Früher einschlagen!
We want to take the glassy and the glossy facade and the good reputation of Bauhaus to discuss the severe problems and challenges of the society. Because everyone's talking about Bauhaus as, as an holy, religion. And we think that we really have some severe problems like homelessness and affordable housing, all these things we want to discuss behind the facade. Hello.
Hi. Tiny house.
So it's like a, like a Trojan horse. Hier ist ein Kinderzimmer und hier ist so eine Art Schlafzimmer oder Wohnzimmer. Yeah. So this is the entrance, the main entrance.
Oh, it's really cool.
Just come in. This entrance is, so to say, public, can use as a public space, and over there could be like a private space. So here is the bathroom.
It's a nice brick wall.
Yeah, it's a fake brick wall. I made the sink very low, so you have to come down and wash hands here, or you can wash your feet here.
Nice view as well.
And the the window is made in a way that if you want, you can put the toilet away, and then you can open a shop or something, and sell things here, like ice cream, someone. It's too cold for ice cream. Soup. You can interact with the neighbors or with the street and with the public, and that's one of the basic ideas. If you take something from the public, you have to give something back to the public.
Oh, this is really nice.
It's really
It's really big.
She's big. Have a seat. the living room, the bedroom, whatever. Don't forget, this is a 2-room apartment, including a bathroom and a kitchen, and it's just 15 square meters big.
I think the good thing is that you don't have so much stuff here, or
Yeah. And you have so much light and windows. It's really cool.
This apartment, we call it Wonder Home. It's design made by my company, Tiny Foundation. We want to create affordable housing. I just made this in the train
Oh, wow.
while coming from Berlin to this city. So here are some sketches to show how I can imagine the future cities. See, this is the apartment that we're in. And the idea is we put here a Wonder Home, and here another Wonder Home, here another Wonder Home, and so on.
So is this like one tiny house?
no, this is
Different
like
people?
6
Oh,
tiny houses stacked together.
Ah, okay.
Well, this is no tiny house anymore. This is really a housing concept. Imagine having 5 floors and having a block like this.
You could put the tiny houses on top of one another?
Yes. Look, this is the idea behind it, you know, to have towns, cities, which are circular. The idea is to really have a very big garden in the middle and everything is connected. Where you have everything, so you don't have to go to other cities or, you know, to
I mean,
move.
I could imagine like actually using this garden for growing food together. I'm just, one thing I'm not so sure is why do we need the streets? I mean, there are buses, that's good. That's a good thing, but I hope we don't have cars anymore. Like, this is really something I need. I think cars take up so much space in cities. So I would love to see like small pathways where people can walk in between the houses. And
I like the idea, you know, of including everyone, because a lot of people, they say they want to do participation, but they leave out some groups. The one who drives SUV cars and the ones who owns a lot of money, they leave them out. And I would say they're also part of the city. Even people who love cars. I mean, I don't have a car, I don't like cars, but I don't want to exclude these people, you know. There are some who really live with a lot of consumption. They need a lot of space, they need a lot of green. And there are some people who say, no, I don't need that much green. I need culture, I need museums, I need education, I need schools, I need kindergartens, I need hospitals.
Where are the tiny houses in the concept? Are there like everyone living in a tiny house, or is it still people having the big house because they need so much space?
This is a sketch that I made from the circular city where you see these wonder homes, you know, which you can put with cranes, stack them here, which makes the price less expensive if you prefabricate it in halls and just put it on site. And you have the garden here where people have their Schreber gardens, maybe also big companies because they don't need daylight. And you can put tiny houses in trees or whatever on roofs and combine the different kinds of living concepts. You know, why not? If there's someone who loves to live in tents, he should have the ability to sleep in a tent. The most important thing is that it needs to be cheap to live there. You know, if it's expensive, then it's just a hipster thing. And we're talking about 15 square meters as the smallest unit, and this would cost like 200 euros per month. And if it's too small for you, you can combine it. You can take 3 of them and have much more space.
I think it's a really interesting concept, living together, and it's like restructuring the community through restructuring the way how we live together. Your empathy for the other people grows because you're closer together.
So it's interesting because a lot of these concepts just were a big part of the conversation back in the beginning of 100 years ago. Like new cities, Le Corbusier, Frank Lloyd Wright in the US, but also Russian concepts, British concepts. Germany was especially rich with different sort of models. Before, maybe the thing that didn't go the best way possible is that we just ended up sort of being too obsessed about material prosperity, and we forgot all the things that are also important. And maybe now the conversation 1 century after is what went wrong with all these ideals and why cities can be as inclusive, or why the wealthiest cities in the world do have a population that is totally excluded living in the street and we don't care.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, one of the biggest issues that we have today, we have these filter bubbles. You know, if you don't want to see the opinion of someone you don't like, you will never see it because you have your own Facebook crowds, you have your own Twitter accounts, your own, you know, communities where you just hang out with these people and don't get what others say or do. Wouldn't it be interesting to design cities in a way that, by coincidence, you always see people from other communities. I try to do it in the layout of the city here. Let's say this is one block, this is one block, this is one block, this is one block, this is one block.
These tiny houses, like what kind of block?
The wonder homes are here. The wonder
yeah.
homes, and here is a public place. This could be like a school or a university. And now look at these things here. Wouldn't it be great if, you know, from this private area you can walk over a High Line bridge to that garden and walk over that bridge to the next garden and then walk here to the next garden and then go down to the public street and go up to the next garden and, you know, experience the city in a circular way. Maybe this is like, you know, the authorities, policemen are here, and here is the left-oriented NGOs. They do their urban gardening here, and from time to time they're forced to go that way to that block because here's something that they need and here's something that they need. Wouldn't it be great if just by a layout of the pathways you come to areas where you meet people you would never meet?
Mm-hmm.
It is accepted by the Catholic Church, by the Protestants, by the Jews and by the Muslims as a room of prayer and kind of like thinking about things. And you can go in there, sometimes there are people with carpets, sometimes there are people in the lotus seat, like all sorts of different people and just together.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the tragedy of the commons, the concept of the tragedy of the commons?
The thing is, tragedy of the commons, that is shepherds and they're overgrazing the land because everyone is acting in their self-interest. But you know, this is this happens because they act as an individual. So the tragedy of the commons assumes that they are all individuals. So actually, the tragedy of the commons is a problem of the individuals. And now, if you would look at what do the shepherds actually have in common, they live together, they share the same land, they probably have better things to do than herding sheep all day. If this is a problem of the commons, then it can be only be solved by working together. So, assuming that the tragedy of the commons is a problem of the commons, when you actually present it as a problem of individual self-interest.
So it shouldn't be a tragedy in the first place.
So it's not, well, the tragedy of the commons is the problem that can be solved by its own presumption together. It's not only self-interest that drives us, it is the desire to be part of a bigger thing, of something bigger, of a community.
Tschüss!
Ciao. Bye.
Ich war normal auf der Spiel, weil die ist dann